In this episode, I interview Jose Flores, and he teaches you the secret to becoming a motivational speaker in 2020. I've spent the last 5 years learning from the most brilliant entrepreneurs today, and now I've left my 9 to 5 to take the plunge and build $1 million business. The real question is, what does it take to become a successful entrepreneur and create financial freedom? This podcast is here to give you the answer. Join me and follow along as I learn, apply, and share insights from world-class entrepreneurs to grow my online business and create a community of raving fans. My name is Brendan McCauley, and this is Growing Entrepreneur. Guys, I am super excited to have international motivational speaker Jose Flores, a guy who I've become extremely close with, and just privileged and honored to have someone in my Rolodex that I can call a friend, a mentor, and a guy that just does incredible stuff on the stage, off the stage, incredible family man. So guys, if you don't know him, Jose Flores has been speaking for a number of years, personally mentored by Les Brown, and I'm so excited to have him on. Jose, thank you very much for taking your time. Thank you, buddy.
Man, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited, bro.
Yeah, dude, 100%. So let's kind of give him a background. I definitely want to tell him a little bit about yourself. Do you remember where we first met? Do you remember how that went down?
Yeah, man, that was crazy, bro.
Okay, so what was your recollection? Because there's always two sides to the story.
Well, I remember, I think I met you originally at one of the Les Brown training events, and then you reached out to me through social media, like just as a friendly follow-up, and you asked if we can go, if you can have coffee with me and kind of pick my brain, and we met up at a Starbucks, and Yep. That was it, and we've been friends ever since.
Yeah, 100%. So, of course, the way I recall it, so I reached out and I'm like, this guy Jose's onto something, man. And I'm looking at him and he's speaking with speakers like Les Brown. Now, if you don't know Les Brown, LES space BROWN, you got to check him out. And Jose, a lot of what I like to do is make sure we give little valuable golden nuggets on all these little things. So Jose has been working with Les now for a number of years. And I saw your picture on I think it was Facebook specifically, and I saw you were speaking with him, speaking on your own. I'm like, dude, I just got to figure out what you're doing because I love the motivational aspect. I love what you're into. So I shot Jose a message and I said, hey, dude, what are you doing? On whatever it was, like a Tuesday or Saturday, and we met for something at Starbucks, and we just really hit it off. And yeah, man, dude, I love everything that you're working on, but do me a favor. Tell me a little bit about yourself. Like, what are you into? What are your projects? What are you working on right now?
Yeah, man. Well, man, what am I not working on right now is the question, man. I'm doing so many things right now, and it's, sometimes it gets overwhelming and frustrating, but it's fun at the same time. And I'm one of those dudes that, because of my condition, for all of your listeners out there who don't know who I am, I'm in a wheelchair because of neuromuscular condition that I was born with called spinal muscular atrophy. But, because of my condition, sometimes, things can get a little overwhelming, but man, I don't let it stop me. I keep pushing forward. So some of the things I'm working on right now, man, I'm doing a lot of writing right now, actually.
Okay.
Usually the summer months are a little slow. Not as far as like work is concerned, but as far as the traveling is concerned, because a lot of people are on vacation and kids are off school, so that they're traveling all over the place. But right now, I'm spending this summer writing my third book with my wife. It's going to be a marriage book, which is absolutely amazing. Actually, I was just writing some today. Mm-hmm. I try to write at least 1,000 words a day. And I know sometimes people think 1,000 words sounds like a lot, man. But when you get in the zone and you're telling a story or you're giving some nugget or some value, man,
you don't think about it.
1,000 words can fly fly by night. But so I'm doing a lot of writing, writing my own book. I'm writing for large publications. I just had a huge article come out. It's my first front cover feature on this Trendsetters magazine. It's an online magazine. They can check that out. And just a lot. I just found out yesterday that the Boston Herald and the Pittsburgh Post picked up the article as well. So that
dude, I saw that, man. Dude, huge congratulations on that. That is super exciting. It's funny. It's like I've seen you do this before, right? So you put out one piece of content, and then all of a sudden it just gets blasted into a number of different realms, right? Different media sources. So it was the Boston, which one?
The Boston Herald
Okay.
and the Pittsburgh Post.
Pittsburgh Parrot. Okay.
Yeah,
Awesome.
so two different states, and I'm super excited about that. There's some more stuff that's going to be coming down the pipeline. There's some good PR that's going to be launched next week. I don't want to put all the beans out, right? But stay tuned, because next week I'm probably going to be dropping a big bomb also. But yeah, man, just doing a lot of writing, and I have a big event coming up next month for college. I'm going to be doing a convocation, so that's super exciting. And man, just working, man, just pushing the needle forward, man.
Okay, so and it's always cool, I think, as a listener. So if you're sitting in the car right now, especially for me, because I was listening to some of your podcasts that you had previously, especially with the gentleman Victor. What was his last name?
Yeah, Victor Antonio.
Yeah, so really cool guy, and it's awesome when you get a chance to listen to guys that have really been there, done that, and are doing the things that just you as an entrepreneur or as a speaker or as a potential book writer want to do, right? But I don't think people really understand, if they don't know you, they don't understand or appreciate the gravity, the focus, the drive that you have, especially with your condition involved, right? So it's and correct me if I'm wrong, it's spinal muscular atrophy. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
Okay, so explain to us a little bit more about what that is, and I want you to do that so people really get a feel of that everyone has their struggle. And everyone goes through all the daily grind and, the personal stuff, the work stuff, the kids stuff. I mean, all the things that go into that. So, that's kind of commonplace across everybody. But for you, you have a very specific condition that limits you in a way that most other people do, that your typical person would completely take them out of the realm. So give us an idea, a little bit of a background. What does that look like for you?
That's a good question, man. A lot of people always ask me why I don't talk about my condition more often, and just make it relatable. And, for some reason, I just feel like, I'm living with this condition, and I'm labeled, people label, me being disabled or having a disability. And it's just weird because, man, I know I live a different type of lifestyle, but I don't feel like on the inside of me, I don't feel like I live a different type of lifestyle. So it's a little weird sometimes, focusing on and trying to talk a lot about that, which I'm getting more comfortable doing, actually, because I know that a lot of people, that's a big question mark on people's heads. Like, what's that guy's story? What happened to him? And they want to know specifics. And I'm getting more comfortable with that. And I am comfortable with it to a certain extent. I just have to dive into it a little more. But it's a great question, man. So what the condition basically does is, the older I get, the weaker my muscles get. And the reason for that is because there's a deficiency in one of the motor neurons that we all have in our body. It's called the SMN1, which stands for survival motor neuron number 1. So we have two motor neurons in our body. And the one that's deficient in my body is the first one, the number 1.
Okay.
So lacking it completely, it's just deficient. So what that means is that it's not receiving the proper nutrients. Or when I was born, it didn't have the proper nutrients, but it doesn't allow the body to receive the proper nutrients that it should to function properly, thus causing my muscles to atrophy, which means weakening. So the older I get, the weaker my muscles get because of this deficiency. And the doctor said, that by the age of 15, I'd end up in a wheelchair, because I was able to walk, up until, the doctor said age of 15, I'd end up in a wheelchair, and that didn't happen. And they also weren't expecting me to live past my teenage years. And here I am just this year, back in February, I celebrated my 42nd birthday.
I love it, dude. Happy birthday, by the way.
Yeah, man. So that's a huge home run for me, man. And I found out, I wound up finding out later on down the line that the condition I have, there's 4 types of what I have. There's SMA, which is spinal atrophy for short. So there's type 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay. The first 2 types are deadly. The second 2 types are non-life-threatening. And I have type 3, which is SMA type 3. And which I'm grateful for, actually, because if I would have had 2, then the doctors probably would have been right. I would have probably not made it past 19 years old. But yeah, so they said 15 years old, end up in a wheelchair. That didn't happen until 22. So you can imagine, 22-year-old, your life is pretty much just starting. You're like official with everything. And here I am in a dark place, man, and I lost my ability to walk. And I'm like thinking to myself, man, what the heck am I going to do now? What's my life going to look like? And I was in a little funk, for a couple years. And, I still had a somewhat of a positive attitude. I've always had a positive attitude. I think that's one of the things I've been blessed with since birth is, I just having that positive attitude and that positive outlook on life. And, but it was tough, man, because I always had to constantly learn how to adapt and adjust to my condition because every couple of years, so I get this question a lot, like, hey, was it like painful? Was it like from one day to the next? Did you feel anything? And to be honest with you, I wasn't, I really didn't feel anything per se. Like I didn't feel a pain or like something triggering, like telling me like, hey, tomorrow you're not going to be able to lift your arm above your head, but it was like very gradual. That's what the condition is. It's a very slow, progressive disease. And so it wasn't like from one day to the next. It was just like one day I'd be able to walk up and down the steps. And then the next day I'd feel like, man, this is kind of getting a little difficult for me. Like I could still do it, but it'd become like a little difficult. Like for you guys out there that have, that are listening and have all of your physical capabilities and faculties, how like when you're working out or you're just on your feet for a long time, that feeling of fatigue that you start to get. So like when you're lifting weights and you're like at that last rep and you can still push it, but it just becomes a little more difficult for you. That's how I felt when I started losing certain abilities as far as movement is concerned. So it's like I was able to do it, but it was like I'm really forcing myself to like, just one more step, one more rep, you know what I mean? So that was the kind of feeling, if I can, make it relatable or give you kind of like a visual or an understanding of what the feeling was like. So that's how I felt. It was just like I was able to do it, but it was hard to do it. And then little by little, I just lost the ability to do it gradually. Now, when I lost my ability to walk, that happened from one day to the next. So it was just like, and it wasn't because of the condition. It was because I was taking a step. At that time, when my body started getting weaker, when I was like 20, 21, 22, I was in a little motorized scooter just to kind of get around because my legs would get tired quickly. So I'd use that to kind of get from point A to point B and then just kind of get up and transfer. So I was in my mom's house. I was moving from my scooter to the sofa and my leg just kind of straight down like a sack of potatoes, and I broke all the toes in my right foot. And so you know what they say,
geez,
if you don't
dude.
Yeah, man, that was horrible, bro. That was one of the worst pains that I've ever felt in my life, outside of having a kidney stone 2 times in my life. But my leg buckled out. I broke all the toes in my foot, and that old saying, they say that if you don't use it, you lose it. And so for like 3 months, man, I couldn't stand on my foot at all because it was just so painful. And so that 3 months, man, kind of wiped me out, man. And when my toes healed and I tried to stand back up again, my leg just kind of kept on buckling out from under me. So at that point, I was like, man, I can't even, I couldn't use a cane or a walker or anything because even, not only was my legs getting weak, but my arms were too. So if my leg gave out, there was no way I was able to break the fall. And so at that point, I was like, man, I can't chance it anymore because I can literally break an arm, break a leg, break my neck, you know what I mean, by one of these falls. And man, I have battle wounds on my head, on my eyebrows, of my leg giving out and me falling and banging my eye against a corner of a desk or something like that. And my eyebrow splitting open and bleeding and everything. So yeah, man, it's been a tough journey, bro, but only the strong survive, baby.
Well, and I think that speaks to, every entrepreneur story you hear, right? It's like, okay, you fail forward, fail often, fail fast. And you, dude, and I mean this from complete love, like you failed in every aspect of just like a physical being because you're getting up and all of a sudden your body's just like, no, not happening. And then you get up and then you break a toe and then you get up and then you fall down again. And one of the things, guys, if you're listening to this, and the reason why I say just listen to Jose, I remember one time I was going for a run. I used to hate running. So I started running in the morning. And one guy that popped into my head was Jose. And I'm like, dude, if this guy can go through all this shit to be able to keep pushing forward, to stay mentally tough, like what do I have to complain about? And that was just one of those things, even just from like a fitness perspective, it was just move forward, run as hard as I possibly can, and whatever it is for you, whether it's fitness or it's health or it's finances or it's relationships or if it's business, at the end of the day, it's a mindset. And I think that's one of the biggest things that you focus on specifically. You know, I know you got mentor coaching, you've got books that you write, you know, all things that I definitely, you know, I love to tell people about because you're such an inspiration. And one of the biggest things that you've got into is motivational speaking. So tell us a little bit, you know, like, where does your motivational speaking journey begin, right? So you're going through all these physical changes, and then all of a sudden you said, okay, I want to be a motivational speaker. What did that transition look like?
Well, I have an over 20-year background in corporate America.
Okay.
So customer service, sales, retention, you name it, I probably worked it. And I worked for two major corporations and worked my way up from the bottom up, you know, started entry level and moved my way up to supervisor, then manager, and so forth. But there was a point in my life, man, where, you know, I was making decent money in corporate America. I'm not going to lie. Those two companies I was with with one company for 10 years, another company for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, they both treated me right. Obviously, I was with them for so long, so many years. You know, I was doing the right thing. They were doing the right thing by me. And I was making a pretty decent living. But there was just something inside of me that knew that there was more out there that I knew was available. And I just wasn't putting the effort to go and get it. And so I said, man, there has to be more to life than just this, like coming to a 9-to-5. And I'm not bashing 9-to-5s, but
I think there's a lot of entrepreneurs that are completely relatable on that same level, dude.
Yeah, man. And I was just like, you know, there has to be more than just coming to a 9-to-5, Monday through Friday, weekends off, you know, and then just living life and doing that over and over and over. And I was like, man, it was okay, you know, but I knew that there was more out there and I wanted it. So I started saying to myself, you know, well, I can't use my legs. I can't use my arms. It's difficult for me to do certain things. That's just the reality. Well, what can you do, Jose? Because I was focusing so much on what I couldn't do, mm-hmm. the abilities that I didn't have. It was just a paradigm mindset shift, man, that just said, well, what can you do? And so I said, you know, well, I still have the ability to use my mind. I have a sound mind. I have an intelligent mind, and I still have my voice. So I just said, you know, everybody was always telling me like, man, you're just so inspirational. You're so motivating. And I was like, oh, you know, let me just look into this motivational speaking thing. And I just Googled it, motivational speakers, and there was a bunch of them that popped up. But one of the ones that resonated the most with me was, you mentioned him earlier, was Les Brown, man. His story just resonated with me. His stage presence, just the way he spoke, and just his level of intelligence and understanding, and just really going, you know, going from the bottom to the top, man, like literally, like born in an abandoned building, you know, given up for adoption, and now to being one of a living legend, a global icon, one of the top motivational speakers. Even if now you Google top 10 motivational speakers, his name pops up. So I watched him and I fell in love with him, fell in love with the story, like I said, and I just studied him, man. I studied his movement. I studied his humor. I watched his videos, followed him on social media. And then, you know, I said to myself, man, if this guy can do it and all the other guys that were doing it and all they were doing was using their voice, I was like, man, I'm probably going to ace this thing and knock it out the park. You know? So I just started, you know, doing my homework, man. And one thing led to the next. And I just started getting my feet wet and I just fell in love with it, man.
I love it. And you know, so here's my biggest thing. If you're an entrepreneur, you've got that mindset, you're listening to this now and you say, okay, how does this relate to me? You know, look what Jose did, right? So he's coming literally from the lowest level that a lot of people in their lives couldn't even imagine being in. It's very similar to like a Les Brown story. And if you haven't checked out Les Brown, you got to check him out online. He's got an incredible story, literally came from nothing and just rose up, like Jose said, to be a top motivational speaker. And really just completely changed their outlook, changed their life, changed their perspective, changed other people's lives, and made all the difference in the world. And that's exactly what Jose is doing right now. And part of the reason why I'm so excited to promote Jose through, you know, two programs and specifically. So, you know, we have an ebook survival kit, and Jose, I would love to talk to you about your book, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. And also a motivational survival kit where it's okay, you got to keep the right kind of mindset. You know, you got to be in the game. You got to want to know you want to do this, and you got to push forward. So, you know, you found this guy, Les Brown, and, you know, I found Les Brown also through the whole personal development cycle and everything else. And you actually had the privilege of getting mentored by him. So like, what did that relationship look like? Because I've heard your story and it was, you know, it's incredible. So tell the people the kind of like the 30,000 foot view. How did you get to meet him? What did you do? How did you prep for it? And then what kind of led you to that ultimate goal?
Yeah, well, I always tell the story, and in doing my homework, I learned that as a speaker, you have to have a speaker kit or an EPK, which is an electronic press kit nowadays.
Sure.
But I printed everything out, and I just had it I had everything ready in a little envelope, and I just saw on Facebook one time, man, that he was going to be in my city down here in South Florida in Fort Lauderdale, and he was going to be at an event, and it was a free event. So even though it was free, it was still costing me money because it was at the end of the year. It was in December of 2015. So like I said, I was in corporate America. We have this thing called PTO, which is paid time off, right? Vacation time. And so even though it was a free event, it was costing me because I was already out of vacation time and I had to take the day unpaid. So it cost me. But you know what? It was the best decision I ever made. I know a lot of times, and for those of you out there, man, listening, that you're working that 9 to 5 or you're working a corporate job, and you can relate to the whole vacation thing, man. I didn't have any more vacation time, but I had to make a decision whether I was going to chase my dream or miss the opportunity to go into work. And I chose the latter. I took the day off, went to go chase my dreams. He was my mentor even before I even met him, but it was an opportunity, right? And I took advantage of the opportunity. And I went to the event anyway, 30,000 foot view, went to the event. Didn't meet him that first time, but I saw him speak, super excited about it. And I wanted to go meet him, but there were so many people around him that I wasn't able to. But the cool thing about it was that I met the host of the event, who introduced me to the CEO of the event. And he wound up saying, "Hey man, I heard you're an up and coming speaker. If you're available, we're on tour right now. And our next stop is going to be in West Palm Beach, Florida at the West Palm Beach Convention Center. If you can come over, man, I'll give you 10 minutes to show me what you got."
Dude, I love this story every time you tell it.
Yeah, man. And it was just mind blowing to me, brother, because it was just one of those things like, the power of showing up, the law of attraction, the power of proximity, and, I now remind you, this was in December. He asked me to come the following week, so I don't have any vacation time. So I go ahead and I take another day unpaid that happened to be in the same pay period. Right?
Okay, so what are you down? 2, 3 pay periods?
Now I'm down 2 days, but I'm really
down 2. Okay,
I'm really down 4 days because my wife had to take those 2 days off too. So it was 4 days total unpaid between the both of us.
And of course, if you're an entrepreneur and you're working your 9 to 5, 4 days worth of pay, and you're still living paycheck to paycheck, you feel that shit, right?
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's a big hit, bro. Especially, that's Christmas time, plus my son's birthday is on the 27th of December. So that was a big deal, bro. Like that, we really had to like put our minds together and conversate about making that move.
Was it worth it?
Oh man, absolutely. Absolutely, man.
There you go. Nice.
Listen, man, I can honestly say that if I didn't make that call, bro, I probably wouldn't be doing what I'm doing now. And I'd probably still be in corporate America doing the 9 to 5 thing because, you have some opportunities. If you miss them, they never come back again, You know
what? You are the second person who's told me that today.
Really?
You are the second person. So a quick little story. So next weekend, there's an event that's going on. And it's one of those events where if you don't say yes, and it's literally in your backyard, and you miss it because you don't take advantage of it, you look down the line 15, 20 years later, and you're like, God, I so should have gone that. Because it's not the small investment that you make at the time. It's the relationships, it's that bond, it's those connections that you could have had that you look back, you're like, why did I not do that?
Absolutely.
It's that belief system knowing that if I go there, okay, so I think the 2 biggest takeaways, A, you got to be prepared. So you had your speaker's kit.
Yep.
B, you got to show up. And then what do they always say? That's 85% of it, right?
That's right.
So, so you showed up, you talked to the guy, and then what happened from there?
Well, so he gives me my shot. I show up on the following week in West Palm Beach. He gives me my 10 minutes of fame. I go on stage, man. There's 3,500 people. That was the biggest audience that I've spoken to date. Wow. Yeah, man.
That's a lot of people, dude.
Yeah, bro. It was amazing, bro. Absolutely amazing. And again, so Les is on this tour, and I'm thinking to myself, man, I know I'm going to meet him now because now I have backstage access. I'm like,
he's got the ends.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm part of the team. And but Les Brown, so he comes and I'm like, all right, I heard that he arrived. So I'm like, all right, I want to go in the front because I wanted to watch him speak again. So I go to the front, get my seat with my wife. And as soon as he's done, I'm like, all right, babe, I'm going to go in the back, try to catch him. So I literally, as soon as he walks off the stage, I rush to the back and I'm like, hey, where's Les? And they're like, oh, he's gone. I'm like, what do you mean he's gone? He literally just got off the stage. And that's what he did, man. He got off the stage, went right into a car and left. And I was like, oh, man, I missed my opportunity again to meet him. But, man, I'm telling you, when fate kicks in, bro, that same day, I got a call from another friend of ours who was speaking that same day at an event at the Dolphin Stadium in Miami. It was a speaking event. And he tells me, hey, man, I have 2 extra tickets if you and your wife can make it. And I was like, I don't know, man. I'm over here in West Palm, all the way in West Palm Beach. And for those of you who don't know, that's like a 2-hour drive.
That's 2.5 with traffic.
Yeah. So I was like, man, I'm all the way up here in West Palm Beach. I don't know if I'm going to make it, blah, blah, blah. And so he's like, hey, man, well, if you can, I have 2 tickets. I'll put your name on the list anyhow, bro. And I'm like, all right, man, thanks a lot. And he's like, hey, listen, and by the way, guess who's going to be speaking? I'm like, who? He's like, Les Brown. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So he just left this event, jumped in the car to go down to Miami for that event. So I was like, all right, man, I'm going to try everything I can do to make it, man. I'm going to try to make it. So anyway, I wound up making it. I wound up meeting him there. I saw him. I shook his hand. I asked him if I could take a picture. I gave him my speaker kit. And he called me the very next day, man. I'm at work. And I get a phone call, and I'm thinking it's somebody that I was networking with. And I pick up the phone, and they're like, hi, can I speak to Jose? I already knew it was him because he has such a distinct voice. But I fronted like I didn't know who he was. I was like, yeah, this is him. Who's this?
just play it cool, man. It's all good.
Yeah, you know. And he's like, hey, Jose, this is Les Brown. And I was like, oh, man, I almost fell out of the wheelchair, bro. It was a super exciting moment, bro. And that was it, man. Ever since then, we spoke for about 30, 45 minutes. And again, I was at work. So I took a quick break, little 15-minute break turned into like a 30, 45-minute break. And he was like, after him and I, we just pretty much both lost track of time. And he was like, oh, hey, I'm sorry, man. We just been talking. I was like, is this a good time for you? And I was like, yeah, it's all right. No worry about it. He was like,
it's a perfect time. I'm an hour and a half over my allotted time, but we're all good.
Yeah, man. So anyway, he's like, here, this is my number, man. Call me when you get out of work. So, you know, he gave me his number, and
you guys have been cool ever since.
4 years later, man. Yeah.
Wow. That's powerful, man. So let's just say we got a few folks out there, you know, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, everyone's got different dreams, different vibes, you know, people are hanging with different groups and different things they want to achieve. So let's just say somebody wants to be, you know, on the public speaking circuit. What's the biggest tip or advice that you would give to them getting started?
Man, the biggest tip I'd give to them is to trust the process, be patient and trust the process, because things aren't going to happen as fast as they look like in your head. Like, you may have a game plan, you may have goals, and you may be executing, and in your head, everything looks like it's perfect and ready to go, but no one knows you yet. No one knows who you are. No one knows what value you can bring. So you just have to stay the course. But I would also let them know to, don't get involved with too much of the politics, because there's a whole lot of politics also in the background with the speaking industry. I would stay clear of that, man. Just know who you are, know the value that you have, and create your own lane, man. Create your own lane. And stay the course, man. It's like I said, it's not easy. It gets tiresome. It gets overwhelming. And that's for any entrepreneur, not only in the speaking business, but it gets tiresome. It gets discouraging sometimes. It gets, painful physically, mentally, emotionally. But if this is something that you love to do, and it's your dream and your passion, and you're ready to go all in, then stick it out, man. Stick it out, because it's those people who stick it out, man, through the storms, through the ups and downs, through the hills and valleys, that wind up sitting back on a podcast like this, telling the story on how they made it and how they're so glad that they pulled the trigger and went all in. And
consistency is key, I believe.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome, dude. So what would you say is the most challenging part of becoming a full-time speaker?
It's the gigs, man. Getting gigs, getting those events to come in. That's the most challenging part of it. You have to, you have to work the vision, right? The vision works. You just have to work the vision. So that's why I say you have to be patient. You have to stay the course, and you have to just be consistent. Like we just said, you have to keep putting that content out there, whether it's photo or video. I recommend doing a lot of video because I know that for me, you can put me in front of 20, 30, 50,000 people and I'm in my zone. But you put a cell phone in front of me, or you put a camera with nobody around in the room, and it just becomes awkward for me. And I'm pretty sure a lot of other speakers can relate to that because it's just a different feeling, a different vibe that you have to get used to. It's uncomfortable, right? So as a speaker or as an entrepreneur in general, you just have to learn how to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I think that for me personally, dealing with my condition of being in a wheelchair, I'm not paralyzed. Guys, for those of you guys listening, the condition doesn't have me paralyzed. I still have complete sensation, complete mobility. So yeah, you talk about sitting in a wheelchair for 16, 17 hours a day. Sometimes it can get a little uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? And being able to feel that, but I know that the vision, man, is bigger and larger than the temporary pain or discomfort that I'm going through. So I push through it. And if you're an entrepreneur and you're listening, or you're not an entrepreneur, you're thinking about becoming one, you have to consider these things, man. You have to be willing to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And the reason I'm saying that is because, with my condition of being in a wheelchair, like I said, I always had to learn how to adapt and adjust. Every time there was a new phase of my condition where things became more difficult and my body started to get weaker on me, I had to learn how to adapt and adjust, man. And I had to do it quickly. I had to figure things out quickly, because I always tell the story of I remember being able to grab a soda bottle, twist the cap off with the other hand, no problem. But as my body started getting weaker, muscles in my hand started getting weaker. I didn't have the strength to actually put the pressure on the cap and twist. So I was like, man, sometimes I want me a nice little refreshing soda. So I'd have to literally I want you guys to visualize this. I'd have to literally put the soda cap, hold the soda with one hand, put it in my mouth, hold it with my teeth, right? And twist the bottle with both hands to be able to take the cap off. So it's just, that's just a small little example, but I say that because it puts a lot of things into perspective for a lot of people when they think about that. It's not a big deal for somebody like you, Brendan, or maybe some of your other listeners that don't even think twice about popping a freaking soda bottle open. But for somebody like me, dude, that was a huge deal, bro. That was a big deal. And, as men, we typically by nature don't like to ask other people for help, right? We want to figure things out. We want to be like, we're strong. We can do this. We can handle it. We can figure it out. And that was with this condition, it's made me a humble person because I had to learn how to get comfortable asking for help. So and especially you, Brendan. Hey, listen, for you guys listening, Brendan is the most coolest, down-to-earth, compassionate, kind, loving dude, man. And I don't know if I ever told you this before, bro, and there's been a couple times that you've done this, and it brings tears to my eyes, bro, because this is real life stuff, man. This is real life stuff that we have to go through. And I remember, forgive me guys, man, I get choked up sometimes. But,
man, you got me semi-teary too, so I'm with you, buddy.
I remember I was speaking at an event in Tampa, bro, and you were there with me. And you just automatically, bro, I was like, hey man, can you get me some water? And you got me a cup of water. So normally, guys, for you guys listening, I always, drink my drink with a straw. But this particular event, they didn't have any straws. So Brendan, he just gets the cup of water. He comes up to me, and I didn't even ask him, guys. He just automatically put the cup to my mouth and started almost pretty much feeding me the water. And that touched my heart in such a way, man, because it takes a big person with a big heart to not care about other people looking at us, that can be a little weird. You see another guy feeding another guy water. What's going on there? But
that's love, brother. That's
love, man. It is love, man. And it's just a heart of compassion, bro. And I appreciate that because there's not too many dudes like you out there, bro. And so when I do come across somebody like you, and there's been a couple of other people, you know, not a lot, like I said, there's been a couple of other people that have had that compassion that you have, man. And that's a gift, bro. So, you know, kudos to you, man. Don't ever lose that compassion, bro. Keep helping people on every level that you can, bro, from the smallest to the largest things, bro. And I really appreciate that about you. And I just wanted to share that with your audience because you're just a freaking cool dude, man. And I'm just honored to be your friend, bro.
No, man, I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, you know, I think one of the coolest things is, you know, you guys hear what he's had to go through, and just the rewards as being a speaker. He gets to touch so many lives. But one of the things I certainly got to bring up, and Jose brings this up in every speech that he gives, is, you know, if you don't have that system, that backup system, it's so hard to do what you do. And dude, your wife, Drea, is the coolest girl I have ever met. So do me a favor, give me a 30-second shout out to Drea, because if you don't know Drea, you can't miss her. She's got piercing eyes. She's got this fire hair, and she's got this attitude that matches, and she's always got Jose's back, and she's literally the glue that keeps so much of this together. So just give us a quick overview. It's like, you know, who's Drea? What is she about?
Yeah, man, she's the freaking rock star, bro. She's the MVP of all of this stuff that everybody sees on social media. Because I literally wouldn't be able to do any of it without her, bro. Like, literally, she's the one who, you know, gets me dressed in the bed every morning. She's the one who lifts me up bear hug style and puts me into my wheelchair every morning and every night, in and out of the shower, in and out of the bathroom if I have to sit on the toilet. And yeah, man, there's not a lot of women that are built like her, bro. And so everywhere I go, bro, I always, no matter where I am, bro, I can be at a corporate event speaking to Fortune 100 and 500 companies, and I'm going to take that few seconds to honor my wife in front of everybody, because if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be at any of those events, because she travels with me all over the world. She's the one who has to, you know, not only is she my wife, but she's my caregiver. She's the one who cares for me on a daily basis. And when I talk about a heart of compassion, man, she does this, bro. Just put it like this. We just celebrated our 12th year anniversary this past.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you, man. And we've been together way longer than that, about 18, 19 years. And so for the last 18, 19 years, bro, she's been doing this consistently, bro, every single day. My condition hasn't changed, so that means that the routine doesn't change. And she does it every single day, guys, without complaining one time. Maybe here and there, she's like, hey, babe, do you mind if I, you know, can I help you take a shower in the morning, for example, because I like taking showers at night. But she's like, hey, can I help you take a shower in the morning? I'm really tired. Like, maybe something like that will pop up, but very rarely. And that's it. It's never a complaint. Like, it's never like a huffing and puffing, like, oh, I got to help this guy again. It's never like that, bro. And that just goes to show you, man, that real love exists, man, and real love is out there, bro, because I'm living it, man. I'm living with it, and she's just amazing, man. She just, I can go on and on and on talking about my wife, bro, because she's just that freaking awesome. But
I know. And trust me, dude, we love Drea. She's just this ball of energy. And, you know, one thing that you could definitely take away from Jose and any kind of training is just when you've got that support system, that makes all the difference in the world.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
All the difference.
Absolutely. You know,
so, Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, you know, I'm human, you know, and everybody's always like, man, you know, Jose, you look like you never have a bad day. And there are times when I'm down, but I'm so grateful that the times that I'm down, my wife is there to lift me up, and vice versa. There's times where she's down and I'm there to lift her up. And I'm just glad that we're never both down at the same time, because then I don't know what the heck we do, Brendan, for real. Yeah. But it just that's just the way it's been working so far, and it's been working amazing.
Yeah, well, and you guys had a beautiful video that I put together that really shows that morning routine of, you know, what she does with you and how you guys work on that and how you get dressed and how she prepares you. So, you know, one thing I definitely want to add in this podcast is a link to that video so people can really see, you know, what is that realistic morning routine that you guys have to go through that, you know, people in their lives who and I'm sorry, if you think you're struggling, you have not seen this guy's story, because this guy literally, he's struggling at the highest level just from the basic capabilities of being able to hold a pen or a toothbrush or you know, feed yourself. And he's still managing to create this international brand that's blowing the hell up. So, you know, look, I'm going to call you out right now. If you guys think you got some shit going on, you got to check this guy's story out, because he literally takes this to a whole new level that will make you be like, wow, I really got to get on my game if you feel like you're off. But so, you know, you took all these struggles, right? And you created this book that's called Don't Let Your Struggles Become Your Standard. So What inspired you to write that in the first place?
Yeah, I wanted to write that because, like you just said, man, everything you just said pretty much wraps up the book. We all go through struggles, and this is the only difference is that some people, they tend to park right on their struggles. They park right there. They settle there. They get comfortable there. They get complacent there, and they don't have to. They don't have to. And I know what that totally feels like, going through a struggle and feeling like, your world is crumbling, everything, you're losing everything. And you may even feel like a loser, a failure, or whatever the case may be. But I wanted to write that book to let people know that no matter what struggle they're going through, they don't have to let it become their standard. And that's what I see many people doing. That's why most people aren't successful, because they'll hit a brick wall, or they'll find themselves in some type of struggle or circumstance or situation, and they get comfortable being like that, and they settle. They just settle. And then 20, 30, 40, 50 years pass, and they're still in the same place, and they're still having those same emotions, and they're still experiencing the same experiences, because nothing has changed. Their mindset hasn't changed. Their circumstances haven't changed. And it's a result of them settling and being comfortable there. So in the book, I talk about so many different topics on what you can do to kind of get yourself out the rut. I share some personal experience, some personal stories, some motivational stories, some real life stories that happened to me, and what worked for me, and with the hopes that it'll work. Maybe some of it, if not all of it, can work for those that are reading the book as well.
Yeah, 100%. And so, guys, if you're looking to read this book, I'm going to put it in the podcast notes, and then I'll also make sure we have an ebook survival kit. So if you want to go to ebooksurvivalkit.com, we're definitely going to make sure we put it in there. It'll have Jose's information. It'll have the book information, so on and so forth. How long did it take for you to actually write this whole book?
It took me 6 months, bro. And it could have taken me sooner. The only reason is that I had that syndrome that most people have, which is called procrastination.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, right. And so, yeah, man, it's just, a lot of people ask me what was the hardest part about writing the book. And I always say that it was actually getting started. Mm-hmm. Because, like I said, I have a lifetime of experiences, a lifetime of stories. I can tell stories for days, bro. But it was just actually getting started. It was actually creating a writing system, a writing plan, and sticking to it. Like you said, we got to stick to it. We commit to so many other things in our lives. We commit to going to work on time. We commit to going to the gym. We commit to eating food and feeding our bodies. We commit to our spouses, right? We commit to our children. But when
it's a lot of commitments.
Yeah. When it comes to committing to ourselves, it's like we always let ourselves down. And that's why a lot of times we don't get things done for us. We're always worrying about other people, or focusing on other people, or prioritizing other people or things. And when it comes to prioritizing things that we need to do to push the needle forward for us, we tend to fall short in that area. So it was just getting started, man. So it took me about 6 months after that, because I was still working a full-time job. So I would work like sometimes at night. My weekends were every weekend I was writing, but sometimes I'd come home and if I felt like the energy, because, coming home from working 8 hours is already mentally draining itself. So sometimes I'd just be burnt out. But, on those days where I felt like I had that extra energy to give, I'd go ahead and spend an hour or two writing. But on the weekends, man, I'd miss pool parties. I'd miss barbecues. I'd miss going to, dinner dates and movie dates. And I missed out on a lot of, opportunities, but so that's what sacrifice is called. Sometimes to get to where you want to go, you have to sacrifice some things, and that includes missing out on some things to get to where you want to go in life. And so I did that. It took me about 6 months, and it was amazing.
So, and I think you and I even had the privilege of creating an audiobook out of it, right?
Yeah, man, you helped me do the audiobook. It was the first time for both of us, and I think we freaking crushed it, bro. And I, to be honest with you, I personally like the audio version more than the physical. That's just my personal preference.
Dude, I'm totally an audiobook guy. I'm one of those guys. And so, I basically turn my car into a driving university. So every time I hop in there, you got one or two. You're basically going to drive, right? So it's either you listen to music or you listen to something motivational. So I chose the motivational portion. And, I've certainly re-listened to your book, and obviously being part of the guy that was able to to sit with you by the microphone and do all the editing. I mean, I've heard it a number of times.
And
but,
hey, don't forget and help me sip the tea.
And yes, yeah. So just if for those of you who weren't there, and I think Jose took some video of it. So when you're speaking and you're trying to record an audiobook, your throat has a tendency to get dry because you're talking for so long, right?
Yeah.
And one of the things that, and just this was part of the great relationship that I developed with Jose and with Drea. So they came into our house. Dude, there's a whole story, man. So like I got workout mats on the floor. And when Jose first came in, there's a piece of his wheelchair on the bottom that got caught on the workout mat that I have, which ate up like a total chunk of the piece of it. So like that was like our memorabilia from knowing that we did this project together. And then he came in and we had this candle on the side. It was like made of like eucalyptus. And we were both like, oh, we love eucalyptus and it smells so good. So like that was like another connection thing. And then he came in. And he's like, dude, my throat's getting dry when I'm doing these conversations. So I was like, all right, let me make you some tea. So we had, it was some type of like herbal tea that you absolutely loved.
Yeah.
And he's like, bro, that's it. It's meant to be. So we made him some tea. He'd sip the tea. We do the recording. And then we like go back to his house. We do another recording. And then eventually, I brought the whole system over to your house. We did more recording. So needless to say, we came up with a product that, I think I'm super appreciative that you even gave me the chance to work on it with you. You've got an audience that, from my knowledge, gained a lot of benefit from it. And, so you take a product like that. Who's your ideal audience to listen to an audiobook about motivation? Like who do you target?
Well, you mean for the book or just in general?
Yeah, just in general, for the book or the audio, like, who would you say is like the person that you really want to connect with on that?
Oh, so as far as the book and the audio is concerned, man, just anybody who has gone through a struggle, who is going through a struggle, and you just may feel like there's no way out, or you may feel like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, or you may have given up on hope, whatever the case may be, you may be in a situation or circumstance and it's tough and you can't figure it out, or, you may be feeling depressed a little bit, or you just don't know what to do or where to go. I think that for those people that are reading this book, and even if you're not in that per se bracket, like you can be on a high, bro. You can be like on a high right now and the life is going great for you. I think that you'll still get benefit from the book because, if you're already on a high, I think it'll just even take you higher. You know what I mean? So I just think the book is just for anybody who, I think the title says it all, man. Don't let your struggle become your standard. And I think that can relate to anybody, because if you're a human being, you've gone through a struggle, or you're going through a struggle, or you're going to go through a struggle at some point in your life.
Yeah, 100%. And so, and I know you've reached out to a lot of these folks that have read your books, and you actually wound up creating a mastermind group. Is that correct?
Yeah, man. The book, man, I turned it into a mastermind group. It's a 10-week course. We go over each chapter every week. And it's been amazing, bro. I didn't even think of doing that in the beginning. I was just going to let the book be the book, but functioning and talking to some different people. You were one of those, and a couple other people who mentioned it to me like, hey man, you should turn that book into a course, or, turn it into a mastermind. Mm-hmm. And so I did it, man. And the first time I did it was amazing. What's funny, bro? This is another thing too for entrepreneurs out there, man. I'm going to share this. This is like a little inside.
Here comes the nugget. Here it comes.
Listen, this is the first. I want you to know, bro. This is the first time I'm sharing this story publicly.
Okay. Oh, it's a pleasure to have it on here.
Yeah, man. So when I first started the mastermind, I was promoting it. I even paid this guy to do some Facebook ads. I invested some money into the Facebook ads, and I was like, yo, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. And bro,
I already see where this is going.
Bro, it was like a week before the launch, that we were going to start the actual mastermind. And I only had one person sign up.
And I promise you, there's so many people that are in that same exact position.
Bro, and it was we started, like when I first started it, I did it for $199, very affordable. And there was only one person who signed up, bro. And it was literally a week before we were going to start the mastermind. So the days keep passing and passing. And I'm like, oh my goodness. I'm thinking to myself, you know what? I'm going to have to refund this guy and just say, hey, listen, we're going to have to put it off, make up some excuse and say, hey, I'll let you know when we're gonna start again, because that's crazy to start a mastermind. There's one guy in there, he's expecting a group of people, and it's
That's
just
gonna be the greatest training that dude has ever gotten.
I know, right? But in my head, I'm thinking like, man, we can't do this, man. This isn't a good look. So I was literally thinking about pulling the plug on this project, man. And bro, literally like 2 days before we started, there was like 7 or 8 people that signed up, bro.
Wow.
7 or 8 people. Then the day of, like 3 more people signed up. Then even 2 or 3 days after we already started, there was a couple people signed up. So when it was all said and done, I think I had like about 15 or 16 people in the group, bro.
Good shit, dude.
Yeah, man. So
Cool.
I'm actually on my second go around right now. And it's been amazing, bro. Like the feedback that we've been getting, people have been, transformed. I've been pushing people outside of the box and outside of their comfort zones, and they're making moves. And it's just been an amazing journey, bro. Like what things can happen when you really put your mind to it.
Well, so that was going to be my next question. So like your overall goal. So if somebody gets into a group like this in your mastermind specifically, like what is the desired outcome?
So the name of the mastermind is called the Mental Toughness Mastermind. So I want to, that particular group is for a couple different people. One for new entrepreneurs, one for people who are already entrepreneurs and just want to take it up a notch, because there's so many different topics that we talk about that affect so many different people. Because the topics that we talk about are universal. We all go through them. There's not one topic that I talk about that someone is excluded from. And if they are, then they're aliens from another planet, because everything I talk about is just human life stuff that we all go through. And the desired outcome is for you to turn into a mental beast, like to help people develop that mindset, that says, I won't give up, I won't give in, and I won't stop until I win. And if you know me, that's my signature saying. I have shirts that say that, I won't stop until I win. On the back of the shirts, they say #WatchMeWork, because the fact that I am in a wheelchair and the fact that I don't have a lot of, physical mobility, my work ethic is impeccable, and I would probably outwork a lot of people who do have the abilities, the physical abilities to make things happen and just aren't. But the mastermind is just for that, man. That group is just for those people who want to get their mind right and want to take their mindset to another level and just level up, man. And I'm that dude to help you do it, because who more than a guy like me, growing up and going through the things that I have to go through, living in a wheelchair and, going through all these different changes and adapting and adjusting and figuring things out to help you on that journey than Jose Flores.
No, dude, 100%. And I remember you and I even spoke at an event in Nova, and you were kind enough to invite me to help you kind of MC that. So you had a few folks that had already gone through your mastermind. So can you give us like 1 or 2 success stories of folks that have gone through and sort of what their experiences have been?
Yeah, man. And that was actually my first event that I had you host, the boss event, the Business of Speaking seminar, which was a huge hit for me, with that being my first event. But there was one lady in particular that flew in from, I think, Minnesota. She flew in from Minnesota for the event. She's in the mastermind. She loved the mastermind so much. Actually, there was 2 people. There was 2 women. One was from Minnesota and one was from, I want to say, Wyoming. So they met at the same airport, flew down together. They got a hotel together. So 2 different women were in the group. They flew down from 2 different states. And they both, man, they shared testimonies about how when they first started, one came in, she's an older lady. She kind of felt like, oh, what else is there to learn? I've been through a lot in life already. And she didn't really know what to expect, man. But before the end of the course, actually before the end of the 10 weeks, she came to my event and she was just crying, tears of joy, because she was able to develop that mindset. Like, we have a lot of people that are older and have been through some life and had some careers and different things. And they just get to a point in life where they get tired of that, or they get burnt out, and they have a passion and a love for something else, but just don't know how to get into it. And she just said that through the mastermind, she was able to just develop that courageous mindset that says, you know what, I'm not too old to start something new, or to, jump and into another niche and figure things out and make things happen and become successful. So she went ahead and she started her own company, and things are going good. She's selling her product, and it's just amazing, man.
Dude, that's so cool to hear stories like that. It's these people that are willing to take the leap to get into something they haven't done, to be with someone they've never been with, and to invest the kind of money they've never invested, that all of a sudden they're like, holy shit, that was so worth it on every single level. And then you see them, a year and a half, 2 years down the line, 5 years down the line, and said, okay, and they go back to these stories of when they first decided to go to, ABC event. In this case, hey, I went to go hang out with Jose, didn't know what I was doing, blah, 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 changed my mindset. And then 3 years later, I'm standing on stage, right? It's things like that.
Yeah, man. And on top of that, you don't want to be the person that's like, oh, you were around Jose and you let the guy in the wheelchair beat you. So I'm pushing people like, hey, listen, don't let the guy in the wheelchair beat you. I might get a shirt that says that, bro. Like, don't let the guy in the wheelchair beat you.
I've heard that, dude. Yeah, that for sure. If you let the guy in the wheelchair beat you,
it's not a good look, man.
It's not a good look. This guy's kicking your ass. So, I know you offer all these things, and there's probably a lot of people that are saying like, I'd love to work with a guy like this. So, obviously you have your books, you have your mastermind. Do you offer one-on-one coaching for that person that says, I'm willing to invest in myself and I can't wait to, to just sit with this guy one-on-one for X number of sessions and just make this happen?
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And, it's funny because again, I consider myself a pretty young dude. I just turned 42, but a lot of my clients.
Well, you look like you're 27 for what it's worth. So I'm just.
I know, man. Everybody always asks me if I know where the fountain of youth is. But, a lot of my clients are actually a lot older than I am in years. Like I'm talking like at least 20 to 30, 20, 25 years older than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm talking about like with set careers, multimillionaires. They've, one of my clients, he has a successful accounting firm and makes multi-millions of dollars, owns real estate, but he has that entrepreneurial spirit. And since he's a little older, he's very tech savvy for his age, for the most part, and, generally speaking. And I'm just like super proud of him, super shocked that he's, that active with all the social media and tools and everything that he is. But he wants to make more moves, man. Like he loves the accounting. He's been able to build a career and a lifestyle off of that. And he's super proud of that, but he wants to start like branching off into coaching as well and speaking and just kind of like paying it forward to other people. And I was able to help him do that, man. Like sometimes you get these clients and you're like, man, they're way out of there, man. I don't know, if we might be a good fit. You probably, you know what I mean? But, there were certain nuggets and there were certain pieces of advice and certain strategies I was able to give him that he didn't know. And he was just so grateful for. So I was able to help him scale up and do some things. He actually got his first speaking gig during our our little set. We had a couple sessions. We had about, I think, 6 or 7 sessions that he invested in. And awesome. he wound up starting his podcast. He wound up getting his first speaking gig. And he's actually creating an online university.
Dude, that's super impressive. I love it. That's so cool to hear stories like that. It's like guys that are willing to really hop in and just take it head on, work with you one-on-one, and you see the results that come from it. So that's very cool.
Yeah, it's dope, man. And not only that, man, like you said, man, if you just watch, if you see my story and you just follow my social media and you watch me and you watch my work ethic and you watch the type of things I do and I put out there, it's just like, if you work with me, you're going to have no other option but to level up, on your own stuff, because again, you're going to be like, man, this freaking guy's in a wheelchair. He's freaking killing it. He's crushing it. I have no freaking excuse.
Yeah.
For not doing more, learning more and becoming more. So, if you're around me 10, 15 minutes, man, you're going to already leave motivated as heck to like, and ask yourself probably like, yo, what the heck am I doing with myself?
Dude, I know if there's one thing I know with you for sure, it's like you have to deliver, because you're a guy that delivers. And if you're hanging out with Jose, you have to be a guy that delivers. He's one of those guys that, if you're in this genre of personal development, of motivational, of growth, like you want to be around, you naturally have this desire to be around people that want to bring you to a higher level. So, hanging around Jose, he's already at that higher level. So it's one of those things where you either got to level up I don't know what the other option is. It's either you bring it or level out. It's level up or level out, right? So, but it's a good position to be in. And, if you're in a position where you're like, okay, I don't know if I can afford to be with Jose, he's a reasonable guy, man. And I know he has the best intentions at heart. He wants to see people succeed that he works with one-on-one. So, for the person that says they want to reach out to you, and I think this is kind of a good segue. So how can we, from a social media aspect, how can we connect with you? What does that look like?
Man, they can check me out on any social media platform at Jose Inspires.
Okay. So Jose Inspires across all social media, and they can find you.
Yep. Make it real simple across any platform. Just type in, you can go to Google, type in Jose Inspires. You can go to my website, which is joseinspires.com, or you can go to joseinspires360.com, which is another, it's like a connection website that I have, which has everything that I'm involved in, everything that I offer right there on that website. So it's joseinspires360.com. Or you can just go to joseinspires.com or Google it. Anyway, anything you do, Jose Inspires, you're going to find me.
Okay. And I know we got that in your backdrop too, so people could obviously see it on a banner, guys. So please do me a favor. Go to Jose Inspires 360. Even if you just want to get some general motivation, it's a great way to just kind of get that mindset, that motivation. Okay, here's what I got to do. Guy in the wheelchair is kicking my ass. I got to, step my game up, or I'm already on top of my game and I want to, even go harder on it. But dude, 100%. Thank you so much. I know we've had you on for an hour. You're a busy guy, and every second means the world. We truly appreciate it, and I know you've given a ton of value to the readers. We'll make sure we put all your stuff on there. We'll get your links on there. Any other last comments or anything else you want to throw out there for the listeners before we call it a night?
Yeah, man. I just want to say that again. No matter what you're going through in life, life has a way of sometimes punching you in the face and then kicking you in the stomach. And even knocking you down sometimes, but the measure of a man is not how many times he's been knocked down or how many times he falls down, but how many times he gets back up. And as long as you keep getting back up, you'll always be a winner. And I know that from experience. So let's keep on winning, guys.
I love it, dude. Thank you so much, guys. I hope you got time for this episode. Please stick around for the next episode. Check the comments, and we'll go from there. Jose, I love you, buddy.
Love you too, man. Thanks a lot.
All right, man. Hey, it's Brendan, and thank you so much for listening to the Growing Entrepreneur Podcast. Look, if you enjoyed this episode and want more content just like this, do me a favor, hit the like and the subscribe button. That way I can create consistent content on a daily basis focused on what's important to you. Also, leave a comment. I'll make sure to get back to it as soon as possible. I will see you on the next episode.